Hello and welcome to All This Science, the science podcast that describes an interesting aspect of science in 5 minutes or less. I'm a guest student podcaster for this episode on invisible ink. There are different kinds of invisible ink. While some inks can be seen as more complex than others, some basic types can be made at home, with ingredients you can find in your own kitchen. Some types of invisible ink include heat-activated inks, chemically activated inks, and light-activated inks. Light-activated inks are visible under UV light. As a child, I remember using heat-activated ink to communicate with my friends. I would use lemon juice as my ink on a piece of paper. To view the message, my friends would have to use heat. For example, heat from under an iron, over a candle flame, or under an 100-watt light bulb. Here's a joke for you about light bulbs. What did the light bulb say to his upset friend? He said, "What's the matter? Lighten up!" Some other liquids that could be used for heat-activated inks are clear soda, apple juice, onion juice, milk, soapy water, sugar water, or even vinegar. So you may wonder, why does heat make the ink visible? The invisible ink fluids mentioned contain carbon-based compounds. When they are painted on paper, they're absorbed into the paper's fibers. Exposure to heat causes some chemical bonds to break down, releasing the carbon. When the carbon comes in contact with the air, it goes through a process called oxidization. The substance loses electrons. The substance is positive that it lost electrons. Specifically, the substance which gives away electrons is oxidized. Oxidization reactions are a gain of oxygen. In this case, the heat contributes to making oxidization occur, but in other cases it doesn't. Think of bananas turning brown over time. An effect of this process is that the ink turns a darker color, so it's visible. Another kind of invisible ink is chemically activated. This is when a pair of chemical substances change color when combined. An example of this type of ink involves a baking soda and water mixture reacting with grape juice, where the baking soda and water mixture is used as ink. When spreading grape juice over the message, it causes the message to appear a different color. This is because the grape juice acts like a chemical indicator. It changes color since baking soda is a base. It's just like other chemical indicators that may change colors if put into an acid or base. For example, blue litmus paper is another type of chemical indicator which turns red in acids. When the message appears a different color, it can then be read. Light-activated inks are visible under UV light. They can be found at places like amusement parks, where you get stamps that appear to be invisible to the naked human eye. The kind of light which makes the ink appear visible is called UVA, or black light. Types of substances visible under this light are tonic water, vitamin B12 dissolved in water, dilute laundry detergents, soap, and even some body fluids like human saliva. When these types of inks are placed under a special type of light, which is the UVA or black light, the ink becomes fluorescent. Fluorescent means that it produces light when acted upon by radiant energy. This happens because energy is absorbed by electrons in the ink, causing electrons to jump into higher energy orbitals. Since the electron doesn't stay excited forever, it'll eventually come back down, releasing the energy as light. We can see this light released as the invisible message. Basic forms of invisible ink could be used by children to communicate secret messages, but even more complex invisible inks have played larger roles in the world. For example, really complex forms of invisible ink have even been used in wars to communicate messages. Whoa. Hope you enjoyed this episode on invisible ink. Thank you for listening to All This Science. Contact us at allthisscience@gmail.com if you'd like.